Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good, thank you. Yes.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Shannon Keegren with Boise State Softball. Summer in Idaho is the best time of year. Rodeos, camping trips, and the hikes that end in views you'll never forget. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're here to get you there. With a team known for incredible customer service, the best new and pre-owned inventory, and a commitment to making your experience easy, friendly, and fast. But here's the best part. Every purchase here helps support Boise State athletics through their NIL partnerships and athletic sponsorships. See you soon at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, rowpaint.com, and the Blue and Orange store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
What's up, Bronco Nation? Happy Monday here from the team at Bronco Nation News, online bronconationnews.com. My name is BJ Rains, and you've found another daily episode of Bronco Nation News, where we do this each and every day, 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, and talking Boise State sports, Pac-12, whatever else is going on in the college athletics world. But we do it in the Sun Cruiser studios. Pick up a Sun Cruiser, whether it's a vodka iced tea, lemonade iced tea, loving the vodka lemonade, love the blueberry lemonade right now, strawberry lemonade as well. Pick up a Sun Cruiser today. And as you heard there, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, Jim Sturk and Company. You would not be watching a free show on YouTube here without the support of all of our great sponsors you see behind us. We'll tell you about them during the show, but certainly our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. New or pre-owned vehicle, get out to Lithia Ford of Boise and check them out. Some great deals online, LithiaFordBoise.com. It's Monday. I'm back. Pumped to be back. No show on Friday. As many of you know, I was able to surprise my son, Robbie Robinson. First things first, what was your son's reaction when you came to get him at school? Yeah. And Christine also asking about that. How was the weekend in San Diego? Great trip. Awesome time. Appreciate those of you for asking about it. Went on Thursday. Surprised my kid around lunchtime. Pulled him out of school. He had no idea. We went straight to the airport. He was very excited, kind of in shock, but went straight to the airport. Flew down to San Diego. Got to see Thursday night's game. I got to see Friday night's game. On Friday, got to go out and have lunch by the beach. Spend a little time there, and then saw Friday night's game. We saw the Little League Grand Slam from J.J. Weatherholt, Fernando Tatis. One game he's playing second, one game he's playing right. Tried to take his eye off the ball with the bases loaded on a single to throw home, missed it, and he had the Little League Grand Slam there. So saw 2 Cardinals wins, had an awesome time with my 11-year-old son, Naismith, and so appreciate to all of you that asked about it. Had a great time and a great trip, and I think I mentioned this briefly with Johnny, but I'm actually doing it for my other son this week. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I spoil my kids. Maybe I blow way too much money on stupid stuff. I don't know. But you know what? You're not going to get a lot of these memories back. You're not going to get a lot of these times back with your kids. And there'll be a time you wish you could do a one-on-one trip with them. So when I planned this last week, we were surprising Naismith. This week, we're surprising my other son, Nelson, who thinks he lost out and was a little bummed as to why he didn't get to go last week. And he'll get the experience of getting surprised late in the day at school on Wednesday. And we're flying down to Sacramento to see the Cardinals and the Sacramento Athletics. That's actually a quicker trip and a shorter trip right down to Sacramento. So my son, Nelson, who's 9, and is actually probably a bigger Cardinals fan than my older son, we're going to get to see the Wednesday night game. And then there's a day game on Thursday. Wednesday night, Thursday day, and then fly back Thursday night. So that's a pretty quick one. So with that said, this Thursday, there may not be a show. I'll have to figure out if Johnny wants to host without me or what, but maybe this Thursday. But we're school's finishing up. The timing just worked with Sacramento and San Diego and West Coast cities, and I wanted to spend a little time with my kids. And with baseball tournaments and things every weekend, we don't get a chance to go on many big vacations as a family during the summer. So this is a way to get 36 hours with each of my sons. And we'll be going to Sacramento, like I said, to surprise my younger son Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm living the good life, spending time with my kids and my family, and got to see 2 Cardinals win. So that was awesome too. But while I was gone on Friday, we did have some news. We had Ty Rodgers signing with the basketball team from Illinois. We have the basketball team signing a non-conference game with Nebraska. So a lot going on the basketball side. A week from today, I know some of you only come on these shows and care about football, and that's fine. And folks like Vlad will complain in the chat and all that. Totally get that. You're football. You don't care about basketball. That's fine. A week from today, we will start our offseason series, the 25 most important players for the Boise State football team in 2026. It'll be a 5-week series. We'll still talk basketball. We'll still talk other stuff that pops up, schedule for football, basketball, whatever. But our primary topic for the next 5 weeks, starting next Monday, will be 25 different players, the most important players to the team. And every day we'll tackle a different player, countdown from 25 to 1, and we'll talk a lot of football the next 5 weeks. So those of you complaining that we're talking too much basketball right now, give us one more week here, and we'll be hardcore football again starting next Monday. And that'll be with our number 25. And we'll do 5 weeks to count it down to number 1 on the most important players on the football team. So Guy says, and then there's folks like me who'd rather hear more about basketball than anything. Yes. And right now that's the bigger news. That's why we're talking about it. And I agree. So we're going to have both. We'll mix it in. This is kind of that weird week where nothing's going on football wise. All the kids or players are back home with families, and coaches are taking time to go recruiting and spend time and everything. So there literally is nothing happening with the football team. So going to talk basketball, going to talk some other stuff this week. We'll talk a little football. And then we will get to, like I said, some individual talk on some players, among other things, starting next Monday. We'll talk about this more next week, Robbie, but frankly, just expectations-wise, if they play well, what does that mean for the team? If they get injured or play bad, what does that mean for the team? How much depth is there at their position? So where does that factor in terms of if they were to get hurt? Do they have other guys at that position, or are they kind of the only guy there, and then are they in trouble? All that stuff kind of adds together, and it goes to most important. Like, not going to be any surprise. Maddox Madsen, the season probably rests on his shoulders. Maddox Madsen probably going to be number one on our list, or right there at the top. Like, I don't think that's any crazy thing. But maybe a running back or receiver, since there's multiple running backs, since there's multiple receivers, maybe you would normally think, okay, this guy's the best player on the team, sure, but is he the most important if they have another guy right behind him ready to kind of step up? So there's different ways to look at it, but it's just a fun list that Nathan and Chris and I all put together. We each did our own vote, and we kind of did the aggregate and came up with a list that we're all happy with. And part of the goal is to make sure we talk about every position on the team. The kicker and the punter, you could argue maybe aren't top 25. You'd rather have another fourth O lineman or some other guys like that, and I get that. But we want to make sure every position's discussed and talked about throughout the summer, and so we will have that starting next Monday, and we'll dive more into the criteria and things like that. And kind of interesting, we did our list separately, and when you put it together, just some of the guys we realized, oh, how is he not on the list, or how is he not higher than 13th, or whatever else, and that's just what it comes down to. So we'll discuss that starting next Monday. But while I was gone, some big news for the basketball team, and we're excited to talk about that. Also, shout out to the Boise State club baseball team. They qualified for the NCBA World Series, National Club Baseball Association, and we are actually going to have their catcher come on the show, Nate Veneri. Roseville, California, senior catcher Nate Veneri is actually going to pop on here at 9:30 for a couple minutes, and we'll give the club baseball team a little love as they deserve. I actually played club baseball back in the day. I don't think many people know this or care, but I actually helped start and found and was the first president of the Kansas club baseball team. And so fundraising and dealing with, the student government for funds and the club, the recreation department, and trying to get uniforms and begging the real baseball team to give us old uniforms and all that stuff, and trying to schedule practices and then coach other college kids on the team. It was, I kind of know what goes into that. I did that in college, helped start the club baseball team at Kansas. And so to see the Boise State club baseball team qualify for the NCBA World Series, I know it's a lot of work. I know a lot goes into it, and I have a little different perspective than some when it comes to club sports and kind of what that means and how much the students have to do themselves and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to the club baseball team. They've now got to raise a lot of money in a short time to go to the Club Baseball World Series. They just won the regional over the weekend. Big accomplishment for them, and they beat Oregon, I believe, in the championship game. So they're headed to the NCBA World Series. Believe that's in Illinois coming up in a couple of weeks, and they've now got to raise a lot of money here. So we're going to help give them a little love and talk a little baseball later in the show. But Ty Rodgers, the newest member of the basketball team, let me know what you think of that. Very intriguing addition. Started 38 games for the Illini when they went to the Elite Eight a couple of years ago. And, I get it. Sat out the last 2 years that the naysayers are going to not be excited about this or whatever. But I mean, you're Boise State. Again, you had a limited budget. You have a limited, a lot of things when it comes to being a Pac-12 school and not a Big 12 school and not a whatever. But one thing they could offer was playing time. And I think this is a really intriguing addition. Ty Rodgers, former 4-star kid. A lot of people thought at one point was going to be one and done. And Leon Rice, a couple years ago, coached that FIBA World Championships, was part of that, under 18 Team USA roster. He was an assistant coach with Tad Boyle, and he got to go, and it was cool, and won a medal. I don't think the coaches get them, but the players won medals and all that, and went to the FIBA championships, and it was a big deal. Well, Ty Rodgers was one of the players on that team, so he was one of the top, players in the entire country for the under 18 team. going into his freshman year, I believe, Leon Rice was an assistant, makes the connection with Ty Rodgers. And a couple years later, when Ty Rodgers is looking for a new home, Leon Rice able to convince him to come out to Boise. He's a Michigan native. Again, top 60 in his class, was, played good minutes, 17 and a half minutes as a freshman for Illinois. I mean, you're at Illinois playing 17 minutes as a freshman. That's pretty good. Sophomore season, moved into the starting lineup, started every game, and they went to the Elite Eight. He averaged 6 points, a little over 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So was stacking the stat sheet a little bit, kind of doing it all, and was decided to redshirt the next season. They were bringing in Trey White, some other guys. He had some bigger plans and didn't necessarily think he was going to get the playing time that he wanted. And that, so he decides to redshirt, develop his game, work on his outside shot, and then he is playing a pickup game back home and suffers a knee injury and has to miss the entire season due to a knee injury. So he is sat out for 2 straight years, and I think it's a nice get. I'm not sure I'd say defensive player. I mean, again, scoring's not his prowess, but if you watch some of his footage, he can get to the rim pretty much at ease. He can score around the basket, not like some knockdown 3-point shooter. I think he only took 1 3-pointer or something in 2 years at Illinois. He's not, but that was one of the reasons he sat out for a year, was to work on his shot. And there was thought and hope that he had improved as an outside shooter before the knee injury. But I tell you what, you go on our message boards, you go on Twitter, so many of the Illinois fans were talking about how much they loved him, how much they hated to see him go, how much they're going to be Boise State fans now because they're going to be rooting for him. Like the character of the kid and the way he played and what they considered him to be a team player, I think speaks volumes. And again, go check our message board. All the Illinois fans that came in praising him, all the Illinois fans on social media that replied to my tweet, like the Illinois fans loved him, thought he was I hate to say it this way, but he's like a better RJ Keene, a more athletic RJ Keene. Maybe he's not going to light up the score sheet, but when you're talking 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, he can pass the ball. He can do a lot of things. And when you have a Damari Wheeler-Thomas who can kind of create his own shot and do some things, to have a complimentary guy like Rodgers as the 2 guard, I think is kind of the perfect fit for what they're looking for. And so I think there's a lot of reason to be excited about him. I understand the 2 years off, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. He was healthy, missed the year, but he got healthy after missing the year. And I think in the year that he redshirted, he made a lot of improvements behind the scenes on his game. So, I think Nathan Carroll kind of compared him to David Roddy, the old player from Colorado State, when he was talking about in his stats and things, looking at him. So, he can kind of score down low a little bit because he's a bigger guy. He can, like I said, drive to the hoop. He scored. He said he has an excellent rim finishing skill set, converting 61% of his shots at the rim. So, as I said, you go back and watch some of his highlights. He's got some really acrobatic layups and things and finishing. And again, he's also a good passer. So, as Nathan says, he should fit in well with kind of driving and kicking. And so, I think that his rebounding is big. He finished 4th in the Big Ten in offensive rebounding as a sophomore. He was 3rd as a freshman. So dominates the glass, does a lot of the dirty work inside, good passer, good rebounder, good defender, can drive and score, drive and kick. And as I said, I do think that he has that dog mentality. There was a clip that I saw where he's slamming the floor and getting in the defensive stance, a la JJ Redick or whatever back in the day. And he, when they're talking about that dog mentality, I think he certainly has a lot of those qualities. Jordan says Illinois fan response reminded me of St. John's fans when they got Omar Stanley. Rare response. Yeah, it was. I don't say it was weird or odd, but I guess it kind of was. How many people were so positive about Ty Rodgers from Illinois fans, saying they hated to lose him and they thought he was going to go Power 5, but they think this is a perfect spot for him to play a lot and thrive. And like I said, a lot of Illinois fans said they were going to be fans of his game. So when the other team's fans are sad to see him leave and it's a Big Ten school, like that's typically a pretty good sign for a school like Boise State. So again, I get that some people are going to poo-poo this because he only averaged 6 points a game and then missed 2 years. But I think you would hope that there was some improvement during his redshirt year And then even when he was out with the knee injury, I'm sure there was some things going on there. And like I said, the biggest thing that I think people are excited about is his character, the culture that he fits, the team player, doing anything to help the team win. Like, he just seems like a Boise State kind of guy from that perspective. And so BSU Bill says fully bought in on this team's defense, rebounding, and leadership. Next year will come down to the offensive development, mainly shooting. Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, I think a lot of that, they're expecting the returners to do some of that. I think they really like Julian Bowie. And I know he didn't play last year other than a couple games at the beginning of the season due to the unfortunate passing of his father and deciding to sit the year out. But I think, like, a lot of people are sleeping on Julian Bowie. Is he going to lead the league in three-point shooting? I'm not saying that, but I think he's a guy that provides some of the three-point shooting that they missed last year or that they need this year. I think that a lot of people are just underestimating Julian Bowie right now. Pearson Carmichael is a better three-point shooter than he certainly showed at times last year. I think that's something they expect to rebound a little bit. And then Nato and Aaron's also, I think, both are guys that can knock down shots from the outside. So I think that a lot of people just look at the percentages, look at stuff last year, and just assume that's who the player is. But I think that right or wrong, the coaches are betting on a lot of these players to make big improvements in terms of the returners. And then when you throw some of these newcomers in here, Wheeler Thomas and his scoring ability, and again, I do think the culture piece and the team first piece goes a long way. And last year there was some, Mike Prater reported and others, there were some issues in the locker room and guys maybe not necessarily getting along all the time. Whatever. I think that's this year's not going to be doesn't seem like on the surface. Now, it's a lot of new guys. You never know how they're going to gel, but one of the big categories they really tried to go out and find this year was getting back to that culture, that team first mentality, and not necessarily guys that are trying to get their own points and do their own thing. And it's about the team. And I'm not even saying that they'd had that last year, didn't have that last year. But I think you look at some of the guys they got with a chip on their shoulder to prove something, but also it really looks like our team first guys that are worried more about the team and winning than their own individual stats. And so I think that, Damari Wheeler Thomas and Ty Rodgers is going to be one of the more fun backcourts in the Mountain West Pac-12 next year. I'm going to do that a lot this year. I apologize, guys, till the Pac-12 thing hits. But I that's going to be fun. I'm not saying it's going to be the best, but you think about previous years, the guard spots they've had, this is going to be a different type of backcourt. I mean, you think Utah State with Darius Brown and some of the guys they've had in the backcourt the last couple of years with MJ Collins. Like, you're going to have an athletic backcourt for Boise State, and you're also going to have a very athletic front court that's going to look different than it has with Standback and Butka and the JUCO kid, Jakani Dang. I don't know how much he's going to play this year. We'll see. Carr is going to join us tomorrow, by the way. Carr Tolman. Hope I'm pronouncing his name right. We'll ask him that tomorrow. He's a high school kid coming off an Achilles injury. Again, don't know what his don't know what his outlook is for how much he'll play this year. We're going to ask him about that, but he's a guy I think they like. But you put all these pieces together, and it's just going to be a lot different looking team next year. And I'm not telling people that are skeptical, the Tater Toms of the world and some of these guys that come in and are fairly negative. Like, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're off base. But a lot of people are going to sleep on this team. The preseason Bart Torvik, Ken Palm numbers are not going to be great. I think they like this team, and I think they feel like they're banking on improvements from the returners that I don't think a lot of people are accounting for, and they're banking on the getting back to the culture, rebounding, defense, winning brick fights, winning slugfests, winning short, lower scoring games if they have to. The formula that got them to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. It looks like this is a team that's going to be, closer to that level in terms of the defense and the rebounding. So it may not work out. We'll see. But I think Boise State had a plan. They had some areas they wanted to identify, and I think they accomplished that. I think they went pretty hard on the culture and team aspect. That's obvious. And I think they did a good job with that. They went pretty hard on the rebounding and the toughness and the defense, and they accomplished that as well. Is this team going to score enough? That's probably a fair question. But they won a game 42-37 a couple years ago. So they can win games with defense and win games with rebounding. And that has proven to be a formula that's worked for Boise State in the past. And it looks like they're getting back to that. So BSU Bill says the big thing they missed on was the outside shooter sniper type. Maybe I think they think Julian Bowie's that guy. I really do. I think they, think some of these other guys are due for positive improvements in terms of that. I really believe that they expect Julian Bowie to be that guy this year. So as I said, they loaded up pretty heavy in the front court. You would have liked to have seen, like I said, maybe one more shooter, one more guy. I mean, we were talking on the athletic wing, the two guard they're looking for. Some people maybe would have liked that to be a little higher scoring guy than Rodgers. But like I said, with all the other intangibles that Rodgers brings to the table, I do think that that weighed out there. But it's a fair criticism, BSU Bill. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I believe that they believe that Julian Bowie is due for a positive season. I hope so. I'm not going to buy it from Bowie until I see it. Lining up the same dudes every day in practice isn't the same as doing it in the game. And that's fair. Like I said, you're not wrong. One more shooter would have been nice, but I also think they felt that what Rodgers brought to the table in some of the other areas outweighed that. I mean, I think Rodgers has a chance to be like an all-league type player. Like he's going to be a really good guy that's just going to do a lot of things for this team. I think Ty Rodgers has a chance to be, their best player, maybe, like if not the best, like certainly second. Like I think he's going to make that much of an impact this year. I really do. And so could they have used the Stetson transfer, or one of these guys that, just does nothing but shoot 60% from three or whatever, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, they could have maybe used a little more shooting, or more outside shooting, or you would have felt a little better about that. But I also, like I said, believe that they believe pretty heavily in Julian Bowie and some of these returners that Spencer Aarons and some of these guys are going to shoot more from the outside. Love the Rodgers pickup. He's going to be the best all-around player if he comes off the injury at 100%. Yeah, yep, no doubt. I think it's a big-time addition. There will always be haters. There will always be people that have their opinions, and I'm not even saying they're wrong. Like on paper, yeah, it's a lot of guys coming from different spots, mostly lower-level spots or guys that sat out last year. Like there's not that one. I get it, guy like last year, they had two of them, getting a Drew Fielder. And I would say Andrews probably had more of the excitement just with what he had done starting at UCLA coming in. And I understand that. But again, you don't always necessarily need to win the press conference. You need to win the games. And I'll go back to our analysis of all the transfers that Boise State has added. 75% of them in the Leon Rice era have been net positives. Now, what does that mean for the team? I don't know. But individually, they added 6 guys, I think 5 from the transfer portal this year, and their hit rate is over 75%. So over the last 16 years, the proof would be in the pudding that at least 3 and maybe 4 of these 5 guys are going to prove to be net positives and solid players. And I think that's a good sign for this program moving forward. So we'll see what it all looks like. We are going to get Carr on tomorrow. We're trying to get Ty Rodgers, trying to get a coach or something later this week also to help break this down. But on paper, it's an intriguing roster. There's a lot to like. If you're worried about the scoring, I'm not going to say you're wrong. That is something that could be a concern, but I also think that the defense, the rebounding, the toughness, a lot of the intangibles, the character, the team first, all that stuff that has really been a huge staple and cornerstone of this program, and the reason they've won a lot of games, I think is going to be back. So I think this team looks very similar to some teams they've had in the past, and there's a lot to like when it comes to come to that. What does it mean in the Pac-12 standings? What does it mean for a lot of that? Don't know. And we'll have to watch this summer and into the fall and see what it looks like. Non-conference game with Nebraska also announced at the Sanford Pentagon. That's a very interesting one. I like that. We can talk about that a little bit more later. We're going to get our guest on from the club baseball team here in just a second, and then we'll get back to basketball. I do want to thank Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor, of course. We cannot have these BNN shows without our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. So check them out online, lithiafordboise.com. View their full inventory of vehicles. We appreciate our title sponsor, again, Lithia Ford of Boise. Sun Cruiser, you can check out their flavors at your local gas station or grocery store, whether it's the vodka iced teas, the vodka lemonades, so many flavors. We appreciate Sun Cruiser and got hooked on them at Circa. And loving it, and hope you guys, if you haven't tried it, will try it soon, because it is they're great beverages and have a lot of positive qualities in terms of the no carbonation and the low carb and low calorie as well. So Idaho Central Credit Union, we mentioned Pearson Carmichael. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Check out Idaho Central Credit Union online, ICCU.com. And we appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. And you may think you like your banking experience, but I can promise you, make the switch today, Idaho Central Credit Union. You'll really be happy that you did. Again, ICCU.com. BNN.com. Went to Wahoo's with my son over the weekend and saw folks going into Roaring Springs. And remember, you can save up to $32 at Roaring Springs when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products at Jackson's. So just head into Jackson's or Extra Mile, and we can hook you up with savings up to $32 when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products. Just buy 2 Coca-Cola products at Jackson's, and you'll be good to go. You will be good to go at Jackson's and Extra Mile, and we appreciate them for their continued support of Bronco Nation News. Hey, Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. You can check out Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com, and they have so much that they do, and they've been running for decades. They've been running Taco Bells in the Northwest and the Treasure Valley, and we appreciate the Nicolason family and SON Management Group for all that they've done for Bronco Nation News. But if you're looking for just a family, you may think of like, oh, Taco Bell, it's some corporate. Well, it is, but they're locally owned, and we appreciate the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. TacoBellWorks.com. You can get more information on them, and whether it's a crispy chicken cantina tacos, all the great options. Visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. We're going to get our guest on here shortly. He's adjusting his camera because the light behind his head is not ideal right now. So Blue and Orange Store online, the blueandorangestore.com. If you want that new jacket, you saw the story yesterday or when it was, I believe Big Cat from Barstool bought the 10-yard line. That's awesome if that story ends up being true. But the Blue and Orange Store online, the blueandorangestore.com. You can check that out, and they have all kinds of great options. As the 40th anniversary of the Blue Turf gets celebrated this year, and that includes that jacket that you see right there on the screen. All right, PJ Rains again back with you. Bronco Nation News live here on Bronco Nation News. We're in the Sun Cruiser Studios, presented by Lithia Ford of Boise, and we do this each and every weekday at 9 a.m. talking Boise State sports. And I know a lot of you guys have been complaining every time that Jeremiah Dickey comes on, bring back the baseball team. Why is there no baseball team? Well, there actually is a baseball team at Boise State, the club baseball team, and they just qualified for the NCBA World Series. And Nate Veneri, the senior catcher, nice enough to join us here on Bronco Nation News. There he is. Nate, appreciate you for jumping on, man. How's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Doing great, man. Congratulations. I said this in the text a little bit, but I actually helped start the club baseball team at Kansas when I was in college, and I know the process. I know how tough it is to get practice time and to get funds and simple things like uniforms and travel to away games. And it's a lot of stuff that just kids that just love the game of baseball and do it just because you want to keep playing baseball as long as you can. And so to actually see some success out of that and qualify for the World Series, pretty darn cool, man. Congratulations to you and your team, and obviously you had a heck of a weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. So I've been on the team since my freshman year, and we barely qualified for playoffs my freshman year. We've been just growing the program. We got a good coaching staff with us that we recruited in, and those guys are doing it for the love of the game just as we are, and we couldn't do it without them. It's a big part of, keeping the team on time and making sure everything's running straight. I know as president myself, I can just focus on playing my best baseball and not have to worry about the logistics of actually getting a team running, which is super thankful for. But we took some hardware home. This there
it is.
This is the trophy we got. This actually yesterday morning we got it, beating Oregon 14-1, which we've always kind of been a rival with them, just on how our organizations are ran and everything. But yeah, super thankful that I got to share that with my guys. And honestly, to have the support of Boise State as well has been awesome.
Now that was what do they call it? The North Pacific Northwest, or what's the conference?
We call it the NOPAC, so the Northern Pacific Conference.
Okay. And what were the teams that were involved in the tournament?
Yeah, so basically how it works is the top 2 teams from the 2 NOPAC conferences, the East and the West, meet in a closed location. And it was UW, so University of Washington, Oregon on the left side of the bracket, and us and Utah State on the right side.
Okay, and that was over in LeGrand?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
Double elimination.
So now tell us, you play obviously all season. There's a conference, as you said, you had to qualify for this. So what is it like in terms of I don't know if Boise State gives you time in the indoor facility in the winter to practice or how they help out. But in terms of club sports, a lot of it is financed through like the student government, and sometimes you even have to go out and do fundraising or things like that. Like what I guess what's the difference from like the football team or even like the softball team that's a varsity sport compared to what you guys have to do in terms of practice time and funding and all that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we kind of have to do a few things. So obviously we got to fundraise on our own. A big one we do is kids camps, which the school lets us use the indoor football facility for that, which is cool because all the families like to, go into Boise State facilities. Obviously, we have a pretty tight community. So that's pretty cool. They like to go in there, pay a little bit, and then all of us players will coach up some kids. And that funds a lot of things like field costs, like concession stand costs, travel costs, hotel costs, stuff like that. And then once you get into the travel costs, it kind of becomes a grind, because you're gone for pretty much all weekend after you do a week full of work, of schoolwork, and then you got to make some time to leave Boise and head on down to Las Vegas or Nevada or wherever you're heading that weekend.
And you guys are piling in cars. Maybe you get a bus occasionally or a van or something, but I mean, you're not flying. You're not on charter flights. You guys are, like you said, leaving on Friday afternoon after work and school and getting in at midnight and having to play a doubleheader on a Saturday or a Sunday and then drive, anywhere from 4 to 6, 7, 8 hours back. I mean, it truly is for the love of the game, right? I don't know, I don't know what all the history is in terms of you guys playing ball in high school and things like that. And I there's some pretty good players too. Like it's not rec ball out there. It's high level college baseball that's probably equivalent to like NAIA or some lower levels. But what is, in terms of the talent you guys have and in terms of the talent that you've seen, what do you make of just the talent you guys have in this league? And like I said, a lot of these guys you're not doing it for NIL money. You're not doing it for whatever. You're doing it because you guys just love playing baseball and want to hang on to that dream as long as possible.
Yeah, so I would say that's the biggest question we get with our team is the overall competitiveness, and how it all actually works. I think it's a little bit of a misconception. So during COVID, a lot of us got hit with, a lot of the older guys in college got hit with some extra COVID years. So it made the recruitment process out of high school a lot harder. So it actually created a huge boost in our league, which is the NCBA. So a huge boost in competition in that because people still wanted to play. And the COVID kind of messed everything up. But we actually have, I think 6 out of our 9 starters in our championship game yesterday were ex-JUCO players. So you got a lot of guys coming from JUCOs in the area, JUCOs from California and whatnot, and coming in as 20-year-olds and playing still high competitive baseball. I've watched a lot of NAIA games growing up, D3, D2. We're definitely, we can definitely compete with those guys for sure. Based on, the talent we have coming out of, got 2 guys coming from a Division II school that just transferred out and they wanted to come to a bigger school. Same with NAI. We have 1 NAI guy and we have just a ton of JUCO guys, probably about 8 or 9 JUCO guys total.
So what does this mean? Again, Nate Veneri, senior catcher. Where are you from again, man? California somewhere?
Yeah, Roseville, California.
So do you just want to come here as a student, or how'd you end up at Boise State then?
I wanted to come to Boise State because of the community, Boise State, or just Boise in general. My sister actually went here, and I have some family here too. Grew up coming here, enjoyed it. I was actually talking to Gary Van Tol, which was their Division I team that they head coach that they had in 2020 that got disbanded. I was actually talking to him, trying to get recruited to come here because I just love this area the most. And when that got disbanded, I was kind of just in a hole, especially with COVID, like I previously mentioned. And I decided to just reach out, to the club team at that and try to make something out of it.
What do you make? Everyone always says no baseball team at Boise State. How tough was that when you remember that happening? And then what do you guys take some pride kind of being the only baseball team that represents Boise State? And do you think, I know there's a lot more involved in terms of money and everything else that we know nothing about. It's not as simple as, oh, sure, it would work. There's a lot more to it. But do you think there's enough interest, talent, the brand that I mean, obviously they were 13-4, whatever it was, or 13-2 when it got disbanded. I mean, do you feel it could work at Boise State to have a Division I varsity program? And do you take pride, I guess, that the club team right now is the only Boise State baseball team?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, we definitely all take pride that we're the, only baseball team here for sure. But all of us guys, we want the D1 team back. They need more funding for it. They need more viewership and stuff like that, which is hard to do with just a club program. But yeah, I would say we definitely take pride in it. And I would say Boise's definitely, in general, missing a D1 team. With them, coming on for only a season back in 2020 and then putting together a great program and pulling off some crazy victories against some big schools, I think Boise needs it. I know they get a little bit of it from the Boise Hawks. However, I think there's a huge community based around Boise State University as a whole, and I think the university's kind of missing out on some of that love for the game.
So where do you guys play your home games and stuff? I know it doesn't matter now going to the World Series, but just for fans interested in the program.
Oh yeah, so we play our fall games at Hawks Memorial Stadium, and then we play our spring games at Fort Boise, 2 minutes down the street. We play there because we get decent crowds out there because it's so close to campus. We get a lot of kids and parents from the kids camps that we fundraised. So that's cool with that, being so close to campus. But yeah, that's where we've been playing.
And somebody's asking if they stream the games anywhere like Game Changer or whatever for Little League. I don't know if you guys do that during the regular season, but I would assume these World Series games will be streamed.
Yeah, so during our normal season, our schedule will be released on Facebook and Instagram. Over the summer, it'll get released for our 2027 season. But they do get streamed on Game Changer. And for the World Series coming up on the 23rd, those will be fully multiple camera angles, commentators, all that. That'll be released with a separate link. I'm not too sure. That has not got sent to me yet. But
yeah, we'll help promote that. I know the NCDBA website will send that out. Robbie Robinson said, didn't even know about this, but I'm sure my dad and I would love to go to some games. So hopefully we can help build the interest. Now, the World Series, 8 regional champions. We're talking UC Davis, Florida Gulf Coast, Penn State, East Carolina, Creighton, Auburn, and Wisconsin. So some big time names that, folks, when you think of Wisconsin, Auburn, Creighton, Penn State, and you guys are one of the 8 teams qualifying. Now, I'm from St. Louis, so Alton, Illinois is right there on the other side of the river. When I heard that's where it was, I believe they're probably playing in the minor league stadium there. I'm not sure. They have an independent league team there. That's a pretty cool kind of centralized location. Make sure you take the boys to the Rawlings experience and go up in the arch and do all the fun St. Louis stuff. Take the Budweiser Brewery tour, but have some fun with it. But with that said, give us some more information on this World Series because I know you're going to have maybe more, concrete details here in the near future about how folks can help with fundraising, and if there's a link or anything like that. You guys are working on that today and tomorrow and stuff. But just what tell us about this World Series, what it means to qualify and when it is, and just some more details on that and what kind of undertaking at the last minute this is to plan all this.
Yeah, so definitely it's putting a lot of us seniors through a spin with us, getting full-time jobs within the next month or so because of graduation. But a lot of our guys actually had to miss graduation for this playoff series. So the fact that, I didn't get to walk, I decided to play ball because I wanted it that bad, and all of us guys wanted it that bad.
Wow.
It really means a lot to us that we were able to stick it out, and this is definitely the best, ball team we've ever had, and we're kind of creating a legacy at that for years to come. Definitely, I would say this definitely is pretty crazy for Boise State to be making the World Series. It just shows our dedication and hard work throughout the past 2 or 3 years because you can't just make the World Series, obviously, without some preparation. But yeah, basically the World Series is set up with an 8-team bracket. It's exactly like the NCAA, Omaha, kind of playoff thing, World Series. Have 8 teams, 4 on each side, and the winner of each seeds play each other in the championship for a 1 game. All are obviously 9 innings. All will be streamed, and seating comes out actually this morning.
Yeah, I was looking. I
Um,
haven't seen it yet.
yeah, so the director sent me an email yesterday and said, yeah, we're waiting on those seedings to come out because they seed by strength of schedule, games won, non-conference and conference. But yeah, and as for getting there, we'll be flying there obviously, and getting some money. We're still working on that. Obviously, we just won yesterday morning, so we've kind of just been having a good time and celebrating with the team. Um, and yeah, so we're still working on the fundraising part, but definitely Boise State has been good to us. So
When is the tournament? When do you guys leave?
we'll leave on the 22nd, and we'll be back, around the 28th, I
Okay,
believe.
so you get about 10 days here to reset and practice and focus, and you'll leave sometime middle of next week, I guess.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. And that's awesome, man. And we'll do our best to help promote it. I'm sure. I know they help. I mean, if you guys, I know it's a club sport, but I mean, do you ever try, since there is no baseball team, do you ever try to talk to anybody in the athletic department about helping out with funds or anything else like that? Old baseball uniforms that the team didn't use after they any equipment or anything? Do you guys ever try to or is it a completely separate thing through like the activities and recreation department that you're not dealing with athletics?
Yeah, so we've kind of we actually have asked multiple times for, some of the jerseys and stuff like that, but I guess like their full sets of jerseys are they said they were unusable. I think they gifted a lot of them away to the old players when the team disbanded. However, we are in contact, with Boise State, and I mean they know baseball is a very appealing sport and they want to keep us running. Um, but we're doing our best with what we got. Um, the just like the club, or sorry, the rec center at Boise State also helps a lot. Just having meetings with them, once a month, and seeing what our funds look like and seeing what they can do to help. Because there is a pool of money that they raise, and they disperse it throughout the club programs based on how each organization is being ran. So if you're running your organization well, you're going to get more funds. That is one thing I've definitely noticed from being a captain for the past 3 years, um, is to be, very concise in what you do and make sure everybody's on the same page. And it works out well for funding wise, for sure.
Well, I would say, you talk about missing your graduation and all that to spend this time together. You're not going to get this time back with your teammates. When I started the thing at Kansas, I still have lifelong memories and friends that I met and group chats and stuff from guys that we played with. And they had a Division I team. So we were kind of the secondary nobody team or whatever, but you know what? It was for the love of the game, and it was worth every second of it. And I don't think I've ever shown this to anybody. I've had it hanging in my closet for like 2 decades or whatever it was, 25 years, but I still have one of my jerseys, and my whole team signed it. And we actually got a set of jerseys given to us, an old set of Kansas baseball jerseys they weren't wearing anymore. They were nice enough to give them to us, but I still have this jersey from when I played, and I was a average to below average player that just, this was 30 pounds ago too. But I just liked, I liked the game. I liked baseball. I wanted that camaraderie and team atmosphere. And so I have a major respect for the club sports program and all you guys do with little fanfare and little help. And it's all about playing baseball. And the fact that you guys now get rewarded and go to the World Series, I would say is awesome. And so we will continue to do whatever we can to help the next 10 days. If you can stay in touch now that you have my cell, if there's any kind of fundraising thing set up or whatever, I'm sure a lot of people here in the chat would love to help and do what we can, because this is a pretty cool deal. And it was awesome to see that yesterday. And I appreciate you on short notice making it work to jump on the show here. And congrats, man. And yeah, like I said, keep us in touch and we'll help promote this. And then maybe, once you guys get over to Illinois or something, we can get you back on before the tournament or during the tournament and kind of follow your guys' progress.
That'd be awesome. I really appreciate being on here.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it, Nate.
Yeah, have a good one.
There he is, Nate Veneri, senior catcher for the baseball team at Boise State, the club baseball team. Awesome stuff. We appreciate him for coming on. And, we're going to find some ways to help throw a few bucks their way if we can. Maybe we can at least pool together and buy them all a meal or something, get some good St. Louis barbecue for them or something. So pretty cool. Maybe some of you didn't know it. I saw Robbie say that Boise State does technically have a baseball team. It's a club team, but it's their one team. And that's pretty cool deal, and hope we can help them out if there's any way needed to do that. But awesome, and congrats to everybody on the club baseball team there at Boise State. I know there's a club hockey team as well. So if you're not real familiar on club sports, it's just not sponsored by the athletic department. It's sponsored by like the activities and recreation department and the student union and all that, and school government. And they get some funding from the school, but a lot of it is having to do it on their own and raise money and trying to come up with uniforms and practice time. And they represent the school. They have eligibility forms and waivers they have to fill out. They have to prove they're full-time students and prove they have GPAs and all that. And it's an official league, and it's a whole deal. It's not just guys off the street, coming in and playing. And so but a lot of time and effort goes into it. And again, congratulations to them. And good luck. Be watching. Go BSU. So we'll let you know. We'll get more information when those games get the schedule gets set and when those games are going to be, so you can try to follow them from afar. Hey, Matt Bauscher, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Check them out. BauscherRealEstate.com, 252-9877. We bought and sold our home using Matt and his team, and we are so happy and thankful that we did. I cannot recommend them enough. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. If you're looking for someone that's going to fight for every dollar for you, he was even, I'm like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. He's like, no, we're doing it, and we got it. So you can get the same attention, detail, customer service, and deal at BauscherRealEstate.com. Hey, if you're looking for a new roof, Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. You can leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN. We'll play it on an upcoming show. But if you're looking for a completely new roof, maybe a repair to your roof, you want to get an inspection done before a sale or something, or if you just want a free estimate, they're your folks. Signature Roofing, one roof at a time, covering the community for more than 2 decades. Signature Roofing, online, mysignatureroofing.com. Tell them that BNN sent you, and they'll hook you up with a great deal. Hey, same goes for Element Fencing. ElementFencing.com. They did some repair work for us on our fence a couple years ago, and we've stayed in touch. Brady and his staff, 25 plus years in the fencing business. You see the attention to detail, the craftsmanship, the options they have on their fences. If you've been on the fence, no pun intended, about that next fencing project, now is the time. Give them a call, 631-2790. Tell them that BJ and BNN sent you, and they'll also hook you up with a great deal. But Element Fencing, they're going to sponsor our defensive player of the game coming up in football season, elementfencing.com. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Shopridleys.com. Check them out, Ridley's Family Markets. And if you're looking for just that hometown local grocer that supports the local community, and has their offices and everything right here in town, that is Ridley's Family Markets. I love that Cuno location, but they've got Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, all over the state of Idaho and other states, in fact. So Ridley's Family Markets, check them out at shopridleys.com. Rowpaint.com, that painting project. You can get your roof, you can get your fence. Well, you can get your the painting done as well. Rowpaint.com. And that's 991-0567, whether it's the interior, exterior painting, whether it's at concrete coatings, which are tremendous deals. We've done it twice with Row Paint, once in our garage, once on our back patio. Rowpaint.com. They can transform the look of that ugly concrete slab in just one day. They can do commercial, industrial painting as well. All your painting needs, make sure you hit up rowpaint.com. All right, BJ Rains with you from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Again, our title sponsor is Lithia Ford of Boise, online, lithiafordboise.com. And again, congratulations to the club baseball team on making it to the World Series there. We are waiting on the football schedule. The TV schedule should be coming out in the next few weeks. Basketball schedule is starting to take shape. And I like that game with Nebraska. That's a nice neutral court game. It's on my birthday, November 15th. So going to try to make it over there if we can. They play, I think it's Texas State or Colorado State the night before in football at home. So hopefully that's a evening game or late afternoon game. So there's flights to get to Sioux Falls in time for that game. But an intriguing game. And, they have to go to Wichita as well to play Wichita State. I wonder if they would try to just do that on the same trip. Just one way or the other, make the trip back to the Midwest there and get them both done. But we now know of 3 games on the schedule. And it's at Wichita State, at home versus Butler, and Nebraska on a neutral court. That's 3 pretty good games, 3 pretty good non-conference games. When you talk about now playing Gonzaga 2 times and San Diego State 2 times and Utah State 2 times and Colorado State 2 times, you don't really need to have a super crazy non-conference schedule. And to already have Butler, Wichita State, and Nebraska on there. Nebraska made the Sweet 16 last year and brought back a lot of their pieces. The Sanford Pentagon is one of those kind of famed places there where they do a lot of neutral court games and a lot of intriguing matchups there. The neutral court game is the way everybody's going. I already saw some comments. Why isn't Nebraska coming to Boise? Why isn't it home and home? Because neutral court, it's why they play St. Mary's and Idaho Falls. I know some of you don't like it, but that's just the way it is. It's better for the metrics. It's better for the numbers for both teams to say you only have to be top 50 to make it quad 1, not top 30. And to keep it a quad 2 game, it's like 120 or whatever, not 75 or whatever the number is for a home game. So it just makes more sense for both teams to make it a neutral court game. It helps more in the numbers, and frankly, it gives a school like Boise State maybe a little more chance of winning than if the game was at, Nebraska, so to speak. So I think it's a quality game, rematch of the Crown game a couple years ago, but Nebraska bringing a lot of their pieces back. Sweet 16 team last year. That's a really nice non-conference game for Boise State basketball. And I still think there's a chance they could hook up with a Mountain West school. Maybe a Nevada makes a lot of sense for a game. And then they have their tournament, their MTE. We're going to find out what MTE they're in, if they're in one of the big, 8-team, 3-game ones in Bahamas or wherever else, or if they're just going to try to do one of these 4-team events that we're seeing pop up in Palm Springs or Vegas or one of these places. There's new tournaments starting every day, but I agree that the schedule is coming along. It's going to be as neutral as Boise and Idaho Falls. Lived in Sioux City. There are more Nebraska fans than Iowa State. It'll be a home game for Nebraska, no doubt, but it's not going to be a sold out game inside Nebraska's arena. So you still get credit for a neutral court game, and it's not quite as bad as having to play at Pinnacle Bank. I think their arena name there at Nebraska. So by no means is it going to be a true neutral court. I get that. But I'm just saying that's why you do it. It's for the numbers. It's to have a little bit better chance to win than having to play just 100% true road game. So it's a nice game. We'll see where the schedule goes, but I still think you have one more decent Mountain West team maybe, and then you get a one of these tournaments and hopefully get a couple of good games there. And then I think that you have a nice schedule. So it's starting to shape up here now that the roster is pretty much done. I think you're going to start to see Mike Burns kind of really start to hammer out some of these games on the schedule. That's the next thing that has to happen. BSU Bill saying, I know our staff doesn't love Nebraska. They've tried to poach some of our players in the past and swoop in on recruits. I'm trying to think, is that where the first visit was for Fielder? I know he went to Washington and then went to Alabama and obviously committed to Alabama, but didn't Fielder? So I'm blanking. It's Monday morning. Haven't had enough caffeine yet, but I think Drew Fielder might have visited Nebraska for his first visit before he decided to end up, going on to Alabama at some point. Would love to play New Mexico or Reno in non-con. New Mexico makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure if New Mexico wants to play Utah State and Boise State in non-con right away. Fielder did visit Nebraska. Okay, that's what I thought. Not as crazy as I thought. But I think Nebraska Nevada makes more sense because they don't have one yet. You have San Diego State already hooking up with UNLV. You have New Mexico hooking up with Utah State. I think Boise State, Nevada, there could be a match there. And it wouldn't shock me if they did 2 games. You got to fill 16 non-conference games. And if you can't agree on who gets the first home game this year, who gets the game next year, you need a lot of games to fill. You also don't want to have to pay for guarantees and all that. Like, why not just do them both this year? Do one as the first game of the season and do one a month later, or do one, in November and do one in mid to late December. Like, do them both this year. Why not? I don't know if they will, but that's what I would do. It'd be kind of unique and different, but I mean, and I think New Mexico and New Mexico State used to play 2 non-conference games home and home every year. Others have done it in the past, even though it's kind of rare, but I think Nevada makes a lot of sense, but I wouldn't say UNLV or Nevada or New Mexico is off the table. Those teams have to fill 15 more games too. So I would suspect there's a Mountain West team at some point. Boise State will get on the schedule, and the only way it would be Wyoming, Air Force, or San Jose would be if they agree to come just to Boise as a one-off. But I don't think there's no way they're going back there. So that would just be one of the bye games if Wyoming wants to take a check and come to Boise. I don't know. But we'll see. Going to be interesting. But now that the basketball roster is pretty much set, you're going to start to see the schedule start to play out after that as well. So lot still to figure out with the schedule, what the tournament's going to be, the MT and all that. And then, like I said, on the football side, we're waiting to get that TV schedule We'll know that in the next couple of weeks. Some of the Friday night games have been announced on some of the major networks. So I think this week, maybe some of that will start to leak out. I know the NFL schedule, I think, is coming out later this week. So usually it's that week right after Memorial Day, those last couple days in May when they really dive out the schedule. I don't know if that'll change with some of the partners being different this year, CW involved and all that. But don't forget, we're going to get the start time for every game for the Boise State football season this year. Maybe not Western Michigan or some of those ones that are road games controlled by the non-conference right away, but every Pac-12 controlled game, they will announce the date and the start time in the summer. So you'll be able to plan that November 18th game or whatever. You're not going to know, oh, I hope it's a night game, I'm flying in the morning. No, you will know the game time and the start time for every game in the summer, which I think is a big deal for fans and things like that. So again, we're going to try to get Car Tolman on tomorrow, the high school kid, the Lithuanian that's coming as a freshman with the injured Achilles. We're going to talk to him tomorrow, hopefully trying to get Ty Rodgers on, trying to get a coach on as well. So we'll continue to track the basketball roster here and break that down. And as I said earlier in the show, a week from today, next Monday, we'll start our 25 most important players on the football team with number 25. So we'll talk a lot of football starting next Monday as we break down this roster and kind of get to know some of these players and talk expectations and talk things like that. And so most of May and June will be on that. And then June and July will be on some questions facing the team. And then, we'll start fall camp, I think August 5th. So also Wednesday, Spencer Danielson, don't miss it. I think he's on Idaho Sports Talk today with Johnny and Prater, but Wednesday, Spencer Danielson on the show live here on Wednesday. Don't miss it. Wednesday, bring your questions. Spencer Danielson live on BNN on Wednesday. Cannot wait for that. So we'll be planning towards that. So Jay Tuss will join me tomorrow. I mentioned Spencer on Wednesday, and then Prater and Johnny on Thursday and Friday. So not sure on Thursday's show yet. As I said, going out of town for a quick trip with my 9-year-old. And so not sure on Thursday. May have Johnny host and do one himself. We'll see. May switch days and take Thursday off. So we'll let you know that later this week. But appreciate you guys. Thank you for starting your day with us on Bronco Nation News. Last night, if you missed it, Tom Moser, another edition of Another Night Out West. He talked Boise State. He talked Gonzaga. He talked about the 76-team tournament. He talked about Bart Torvik and some of the early season numbers. If you are a basketball fan, make sure you watch Another Night Out West every Sunday. It's live at 8 p.m., or you can go back on our YouTube channel and rewatch the show, and make sure you subscribe to the new YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@Another Night Out West. youtube.com/@Another Night Out West. And you can turn on the notifications, but he's going live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. If you can't watch it live, you can watch it throughout the week. And he went about an hour and 15 minutes talking Pac-12 basketball last night. So make sure you go check that out at some point and give him a follow on his new page. So all kinds of content coming to the website. We're still offering that 50% off sale. Hopefully you'll go subscribe. BroncoNationNews.com, part of the 24/7 Sports family. 50% off an annual spring subscription right now. Annual subscription, half off. It's like $5-6 a month to get a year of coverage. And that takes you all through next football season, all through next basketball season. Pay now. Don't have to worry about it for a full year. And we would appreciate those of you that decide to do that. So we have a recruiting story going up today from Chris. We also had Nathan's 5-part series breaking down spring ball and kind of the final takeaways. We posted number 1 this morning before the show on Spencer Danielson. So a lot of great content coming to BroncoNationNews.com. We hope you'll subscribe, 50% off. We hope you'll go support all of our sponsors that make this show possible. So and that includes, of course, Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor. LithiaFordBoise.com. View the full inventory of vehicles. They got that employee pricing going on right now. So take advantage of that. But support all the sponsors. Help keep the show free of charge here on YouTube and running every day. We have to pay Prater and Johnny and Tuss and all these guys. So that costs money. So to make this show a net positive, we need you guys to hit that like button down there, hit that subscribe button, and go subscribe to the website. And most importantly, thank our sponsors and support the sponsors. And when you do go to Jackson's or go to Taco Bell or go to Lithia, tell them that you're doing this because we appreciate them supporting BNN and helping provide our kind of coverage. It does go a long way, folks. So appreciate all of you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with Jay Tuss at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, from the Sun Cruiser Studios, presentation of our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. My name is BJ Rains, and this has been Bronco Nation News Online where you should go check out the message boards and subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com.